everybody, this is Patty Sliney, Handy Quilter National Educator, and we had a very interesting question come up on one of our Facebook groups, and it was how to use an extended width edge-to-edge design. They're special designs, and they are what they sound like. They're an extended width, and there'll be several rows of a design that are designed to stitch out left to right and then right to left for a few rows. And they usually have a start and end point on the same side of the extended width design element. And they're designed to just be repeated vertically because you don't need to repeat them horizontally because they're an extended width. And they often come kind of bundled in several different widths. So you might get a 60-inch wide one, 70-inch, 90-inch, depending on how wide a quilt you're using would indicate which of the extended width designs you'd want to use to make sure they're wide enough to fill the width of your area for your quilt. So there is a way to use these. You want to be able to retain the start and stop points for your rows, which are actually going to be several rows. And so you'll have a start point at the top, and then you'll stitch several rows right to left, left to right, right to left, etc. And then you'll end up with an end point on the left side with that design segment. And those start and stop points need to be retained, or you're going to end up with no start and stop points if you repeat them like we normally do when we build an all over edge to edge design. We overfill our area perimeter, so all the design elements extend beyond the area perimeter, and then we go to modify, crop everything outside of the area, close the edges. If you do that, you will lose all your rows, start and end points, and all you'll have is your bullseye start point at stitch 1 and your bullseye end point at the final stitch. And of course, that doesn't have any commands to tell Pro Stitcher to pause and give you the long jump pause at a row end point to allow you to pull up your bobbin threads and advance if you need to. It will just merrily stitch along until it hits your front bar. And let me show you that. So I'm going to pull up a design. I purchased this one from Anita Shackelford. It's called Modern Dewdrops. And as you can see, it's extended width. It has a start point on the left and an end point on the left, and it stitches left to right, then it drops down, stitches right to left, does this several times until it ends here. Now, normally what we do with repeating edge to edge designs, so we'll go to the repeat tab. Obviously, we don't need to repeat this horizontally because it's plenty wide enough, so we would repeat it vertically, and we would just repeat it until it overlapped our area. We would baseline all those repeats, go to modify, crop, outside, close the edges. And as you can see, I'll hide my area from view here. So let me just turn off my area in the view tab. As you can see, we have stitch number 1, bullseye start point, final stitch, bullseye end point, no endpoints or start points. So it's just going to start stitching here and merrily stitch along left to right until it hits your bar. So obviously that's not what we want. So let me turn my area back on and let's close this out. I'm just going to use File Close Selected to remove just the selected design. And I'm going to show you the way you want to build this at your machine. So you would set up your area. For light users, create your frame space, of course, and for premium, Pro Stitcher Premium users, I strongly recommend you create your quilting space so you know where it's safe to stitch in your throat space. And I've done this and set this up. This is 14 inches, so it would be set up as though you had an Amara 20 and you had 14 inches of safe stitching area in your throat space. So now I'm going to take my needle, put my hands on the handlebars, and I'm going to move my needle so that it's in the upper inside left corner of my area. And I'm going to zoom in so I'm really accurate. because I really want to get it right up there. Now I want it to be within the area. This is very important. You can see my crosshairs show that I'm inside my area. I'm not outside. And when I created this area, I was very careful to create it up and into the batting. So this area starts about a half an inch above the top edge of my quilt top and about an inch and a half or so, inch and a half to the left of the left edge. So I'm out in the batting here, both on the left side, on top, and then same here for the right side, way over here. This area point is into the batting by about, an inch to an inch and a half to the right of the right edge of my quilt top. Okay, so it's an area that is completely going out into the batting. So now I've placed my crosshairs. Zoom in a little more because I want you to see this when I load the design. My needle is inside, close, but still inside my area. So now let's go open that design again. And I have Pro Stitcher Premium set to load my design, load the start point of my design to my crosshairs. That's the default setting, and in Lite, that's your only setting. But for premium users, make sure you have this selected. So now let's go open my design. Let's open it again. It's going to load start point to my crosshairs, and let's zoom in. And I want to make sure that my start and my end point, and zoom is your friend. Don't be afraid to zoom way in. I want to confirm that this start point is just inside my area. I don't want it too far inside because I don't want it to start stitching into my quilt top. I still want this to start into the batting, which it will. And then if I scroll down and I look at my end point, let's make sure that the end point is also, and it should be because it should be, there it is, on a vertical line. So that's the key. You want the end point and the start point to be within your area. Zoom back in. Okay. I'm happy with that. I'm just going to baseline it because I want to go ahead and go to my repeats, to my vertical in my right sidebar. And now I'm going to repeat vertically. And I have plenty of coverage, but the design is going to start stitching close to inside my area and into the batting. Now I can baseline, go to modify, crop outside, close my edges, and I want you to watch the start points here. When I close my edges, they went away here, but let me zoom way in, and I want to show you, I'm going to zoom way in right here. And I'm going to move my crosshairs off of that. I have retained the stop point and the start point for each of those design segments. So we have start and stop points. However, one more step that's critical. You need to go to your settings tab and go to auto jump, and you need to change your auto jump to 0. For those of you that are Lite users, you need to go to your settings and go to defaults, and you will have auto jump here. Turn it off. You want it 0, so make sure it gets turned off so it's 0. All right. So now what happens, because I've turned my auto jumps to 0 or turned them off, that forces Pro Stitcher to stop at every one of these endpoints and not do this auto jump. It's going to pause here. That will allow you to pull up your bobbin threads and trim your threads if you want. Again, this auto jump, this is happening in the batting. So who cares if there's a jump stitch, is going to get trimmed off. And it will resume stitching here. So if you need to advance, and you can see I can get one full design segment stitched. It's several rows. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. it will stitch out 6 rows, I think. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 6, because it's coming right to left here, and then it jogs down a wee bit, and then it has the end point right here. And pause, and then it'll jump here once you touch resume, and I can't stitch out this second segment, so I would have to advance. And I would advance and get this second segment within my quilting space or frame space, and then touch resume and stitch out the second segment. So that's the key. There are 2 key steps to using these extended width designs. First key step is make sure you load your design so it's the start and the end point of the design segment are inside your area, just a little bit, both top and side. That's the first key step. Second key step is to go to your settings, auto jump, set auto jump to 0 for premium users. For light users, go to settings default and turn off auto jumps. And that way it forces Pro Stitcher to pause at every single endpoint. So if you need to advance, you have the option to do that. So I hope that helps. I hope that makes sense. Don't be afraid to use these. Just take those 2 considerations in when you're building your design and you should be good to go. Happy quilting!